Hello children and welcome to the session today. Children, we all know that we all need food to eat, and this food helps our body to do a multiple type of activities throughout the day. And all the food that we eat comes from one basic source, which is plants. So today, in our very first chapter of our new class, class 7, we are going to understand how these plants prepare their food. How do plants get their food? As I just said, the food that we eat helps us to do many activities. All these activities are known as life processes. It is these life processes, for example, respiration, excretion, movement, response to stimuli, and growth, that help us to survive on earth. And all living beings get their food and energy from plants. Children, the process by which we eat our food is known as nutrition. Now, this nutrition comes from the food we eat, and the different kind of food that we take in gives us different kinds of nutrients. What are these nutrients? Proteins, carbohydrates, fats, vitamins, minerals, electrolytes. All these nutrients come from food. So any substance that goes inside the body, burns to give us energy, will be known as food. And what kind of food? Not just any food, healthy food. Why? Because healthy food combined with physical activity and a balanced diet can actually help us to remain active all the time. Now, talking about plants and animals. So, what are the different modes of nutrition? What do you mean by modes of nutrition? The way in which an organism takes in food. So, it is either the autotrophic mode or the heterotrophic mode. Auto means self and trophic means nutrition. So, what is autotrophic nutrition? Autotrophic nutrition is a process in which an organism prepares their food from simple available substances like water, mineral salts, carbon dioxide. Auto means self, tropic means nutrition. Which organisms are capable of autotrophic mode? It is only the green plants which contain green colored pigment called chlorophyll are capable of photosynthesis. Now, what is formed as a result of photosynthesis? It is glucose. Even microorganisms like blue-green algae which contain chlorophyll are capable of autotrophic mode of nutrition. Now, talking about photosynthesis, children, we know that photosynthesis is carried out in the leaf of the plant. And what are the raw materials? Number 1, sunlight. Number 2, carbon dioxide. Number 3 is water and minerals which come up from the roots. And as a result of all this, what is formed? Glucose and oxygen are formed. Children, the most important part of the leaf that help in carrying out this activity is number 1, the green pigment chlorophyll, which captures sunlight, and number 2, the stomata of the leaf. This stomata is present on the underside of the leaf and it carries out 2 functions. Number 1, exchange of gases. So, what is the exchange that is taking place? Carbon dioxide is coming inside and oxygen is going outside. And number 2, what is happening? The excess water is thrown out. And this process is known as transpiration. So, these tiny pores, stomata, help in the exchange of gases and throwing out of excess water. And children, all the energy that is obtained from this food is trapped in the form of glucose molecules. It is this glucose which is later converted into starch and stored in different plant parts that are consumed by animals or human beings. Now, we know that photosynthesis, that means synthesis of food in presence of light, requires light. There is a very simple experiment given in your book to prove that light is necessary for photosynthesis. You can conduct the same at home or in the school under the supervision of your teacher. Moving on to the next requirement, which is to check if chlorophyll is necessary for the process of photosynthesis. So children, again, this is a very simple experiment to be conducted in the laboratory with the help of your teacher. Now, we have learnt about light, we have learnt about chlorophyll. Now, let us understand what is it exactly that is formed in the leaf which is stored as food. We just said it was starch. Now, with the help of another experiment, we can prove that a leaf contains starch. Now, how do you check that carbon dioxide is also necessary for photosynthesis? Again, a very simple experiment given in your book to be conducted in school under the supervision of your teacher. And how to check that oxygen is released during the process of photosynthesis. Again, a very simple experiment to be done under adult supervision. So, children, conclusively, why is photosynthesis important? It serves as the primary energy process for most trees and plants. It is a main source of oxygen in the atmosphere. It contributes to the carbon cycle among biotic and abiotic components. It contributes to the symbiotic relationship between plants, human beings and animals, and it directly or indirectly affects life on earth. No plants, no life. So, photosynthesis is a very important part of autotrophic nutrition. Now, talking about organisms which cannot produce their own nutrition, and also in case of plants that do not have chlorophyll, how do they get their food? So, the process in which an organism is dependent on another organism for food is known as heterotrophic mode of nutrition. There are 4 main types of heterotrophic nutrition. Let us understand about them one by one. The first important mode is saprophytic nutrition. Saprophytic nutrition takes place in non-green plants. How do they get their food? They live on dead and decaying organic remains. The organisms which depend on dead decaying animals and obtain food through this mode are known as saprophytes. Now, saprophytes, for example, they are mushrooms, yeast, toadstool, moths and certain kinds of bacteria. When they feed on the dead decaying organism, what do they exactly do? They break the complex organic matter into simpler substances that can be easily digested by the body. So, this was saprophytic mode. In order to understand parasitic mode, let us watch a video together. Non-green plants like amarbale or cuscuta are commonly seen twining around the stem and branches of trees on which they climb. They have special structures called haustoria which pierces into the plant body and absorb ready-made food. Such plants are called parasites and the mode of nutrition is called parasitic nutrition. The mode of nutrition in which an organism derives ready-made food from the body of another living organism is known as parasitic nutrition. The organism that obtains this food is known as a parasite and the organism from whose body the food is obtained is known as the host. Sometimes when two organisms are surviving together, unlike the parasitic nutrition, they can also benefit from each other. That mode of nutrition is then known as symbiotic nutrition. The word sym means together and the word bios means life. Lichens are the best example of symbiosis. So, what are lichens? Lichens are actually a combination of algae plus fungus. And what happens here in this combination? Algae is an autotroph, so it will manufacture food for the organism. And what will fungi do? The fungi will provide water, minerals and shelter to the algae. So in this way, both are benefited. The second most common example of symbiotic relationship is of rhizobium. We know that rhizobium bacteria are present in the root nodules of legumes. They also fix the nitrogen. This nitrogen is used by the plant and the plant provides shelter to this bacteria. So this becomes a symbiotic relationship. Children, unlike these organisms like the rhizobium, there are certain plants which grow in soils that are deficient in nitrogen, like Venus flytrap and bladderwort. How do they fulfill their nitrogen requirement? By eating insects. Yes, these are known as insectivorous plants. Now, if you see the pictures carefully, the leaves of the Venus flytrap plant are modified into a trap. Now, because they are bright in color, the insect is attracted towards them. The moment the insect sits, the leaves close like a trap and digestive juices digest the insect. Similarly, in case of bladderwort, the leaves have a very sticky material coming out of them. The minute the insect sticks to this fluid, it cannot fly away at all. So children, in this chapter, we have learned how plants derive their nutrition. If they are green plants, we know that they carry out photosynthesis. If they are non-green plants, then what happens? We know that they depend on certain other things to obtain nutrition. They can be saprophytic, symbiotic, parasitic or insectivorous. I hope you have understood the lesson very well. Thank you.